At first glance, there's nothing particularly frightening about this place. The sun is shining, birds are singing. The graves before us look much like any other historic New England cemetery. Yet this quiet burial ground has inspired ghost stories, urban legends, and paranormal investigations for generations. Welcome to Blood Cemetery. Today we're exploring the real history behind one of New England's most famous haunted locations, separating fact from fiction while uncovering some of the strange stories. Those stories continue to surround these graves. One of the biggest misconceptions about Blood Cemetery is that something terrible happened here. Many visitors assume the name comes from a massacre, a murder, or some gruesome event, but that's not true. The cemetery earned its nickname from a local family named Blood. One of the most prominent graves belongs to Abel Blood, a century resident whose unusual surname helped inspire decades of folklore. It's a perfect example of how a simple historical fact can evolve into a much larger legend. Over time, people began inventing stories to explain the cemetery and its ominous name. Some claimed entire families had been murdered. Others spoke of curses and supernatural events. But historical records tell a much simpler story. The Blood family were real people who lived ordinary lives in this part of New England. As we walk through the cemetery, it's easy to focus on ghost stories, but many visitors miss what makes this place genuinely fascinating. Some of the graves date back to the colonial era. These stones have survived wars, harsh New England winters, and more than 2 centuries of changing history. Just think about that for a moment. Some of these markers were already standing when George Washington was alive. The cemetery itself serves as a timeline of local history, serving the names of families who helped build the surrounding community. Among all the graves here, one stone has become legendary, and that's the grave Blood. Features a carved hand pointing toward the sky. The recurring story involves the appearance of a young boy near the cemetery and surrounding roads. Witnesses say they briefly see a child standing nearby, then moments later, the figure disappears. No one knows where the story originated, but it's become one of the area's most endearing legends. What many people don't realize is that the Blood family's history extends beyond New Hampshire. Across state lines in Massachusetts, many members of the Blood family lived, worked, and were buried throughout the region. The border between southern and northern Massachusetts was never much of a barrier. Because of this, stories associated with the Blood name spread across both states. Over time, local folklore merged with historic fact, creating the legend that survives today. Standing here in the daylight, it's easy to wonder why Blood Cemetery became so famous. There are older cemeteries, there are larger cemeteries, there are cemeteries connected with far more dramatic events, yet people continue to visit this place year after year. The answer may be surprisingly simple. The name. It's memorable, it's mysterious, and it continues to invite questions. Once people hear the name, they begin looking for stories. Eventually, the stories become part of the place. Due to years of vandalism, the stone with the finger pointing to heaven is no longer here. And the ones that are vandalized. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, Blood Cemetery represents something uniquely New England. History and folklore existing side by side. A real family whose name became a legend. A quiet cemetery transformed into the region's most famous paranormal destination. And perhaps the most interesting mystery of all is why people are chainsawing nearby. The most interesting mystery of all is not whether the cemetery is haunted, but how an ordinary family name created stories that have survived for generations. As always, if you visited Blood Cemetery by yourself, let us know in the comments. Have you experienced anything unusual here? Or do you think the real story is more fascinating than legends? As always, stay creepy, stay kind, and please stay respectful.
Thank you for joining us. Please remember to like and subscribe if you have brains. And most important, stay creepy.